The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise. Have you checked your heating and cooling systems lately? With warmer weather on the way, let the team from Reimer get your home ready. If you're in pain and tried everything to get relief, you might want to try acupuncture. Find out all about it. The VA offers therapies and recreational activities to keep our veterans healthy and active. Find out about their programs. That's all coming up on this edition of The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise. I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on The Big Whack. Joining us on The Big Whack Buffalo on the Rise is Brandon Barron from Reimer Home Services. Nice to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe.
You know, I see the trucks around all the time with the horn on them, and I still honk. Tell the guys, you know, I try to wave when I honk.
I'll let them know if they hear it. Hopefully it's you and...
Yeah, it's not in a traffic jam or anything
exactly.
like that. 100 years.
Yes.
100 years have been in the market. That's an amazing amount of time. I can't think of many things in Buffalo that have been around for 100 years.
Yeah, I think we're one of the oldest home service companies in Buffalo. Over 100 years of service. Started off with just a handful of folks, and you know we have over 120 employees in Buffalo now. It's something that we're really proud of, and we've had the pleasure of serving the Western New York community. We've since expanded into Rochester and Albany in the latter part of 2023, and we're excited to bring those same level of service to those communities as well.
Tell me, in the 100 years, how have things changed? You know, we talked about heating and cooling, and maybe there's different things, electrical things that you do, air conditioning. So how have some of those things changed in that time?
Yeah, so we started off as a heating and cooling company. We've expanded into plumbing, full plumbing services, so not just faucet repair, toilet repair, but mainline excavation. So roots getting into sewer lines is a big problem here in Western New York. We have a team that's really trained really well. They do phenomenal work in that area. And recently, this past fall, we expanded into the electrical business. So we can really cover everything in a customer's home. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
You know, I understand that not only, and I guess that's part of being in Western New York, not only having a business, but being embedded in the community. And you do a lot of stuff for the community as well, right?
Yeah, it's something that's really important to us. We want to show up for our customers every single day, but showing up for the moments and the events that matter to them as well is really important to us. So we'll be out at Ice Cycle for raising funds for Roswell Park first week of March. We'll be at the Buffalo Marathon Memorial Day weekend. We sponsor everything Buffalo, or everything Rhino at the Buffalo Zoo. So that's great if you're out there with your families in the spring or summer. You'll see some of our trucks and some of our signage around. And then in the fall, something that's near and dear to our hearts, we're the presenting sponsor for Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. It impacts too many of us here in Western New York, and we're happy to do whatever we can to help fight it.
And I think you guys are involved with Ride for Roswell as well, because I always think of it as Reimer for Roswell.
Yes, yeah, and that's something that we're getting into. More recently this year, that's a new partnership. But again, we just want to show up for those community events that make a difference to the people of Western New York.
Reimer to the rescue, all right?
Yes.
And if any of us have had problems with plumbing, with whatever in our house, first hot day, go to turn on the air conditioning, nothing. You know what I mean? It's happened to all of us one time or another. So Reimer to the rescue, great tagline, and I see the trucks all around with the horn on them. Give us a little background on all of this here.
Yeah, so Reimer to the rescue. These taglines, 100-year-old brand. As we were thinking about expanding into Rochester and Albany, we wanted to refresh it. The brand's changed. We now have the Reimer mascot, or the Rhino mascot. We have these taglines. We're often showing up to a customer's home on their worst day. So Reimer to the rescue naturally flowed, and get Reimer on the horn. You know, I'm in the grocery stores walking around, I'll have my uniform on, and someone will say, get Reimer on the horn. It feels like a Go Bills moment there, and smile and give a thumbs up back. But, you know, the brand is refreshed. The trucks may look different, but the quality of service and how we're showing up for our customers has stayed consistent. So I'm glad you're seeing the trucks on the road, you're seeing the billboards and everything.
Yeah, and you know, and now the other thing that we're thinking about is we're in a transition. I mean, this winter to me hasn't really seemed like winter. Couple of weeks, we got snow, but aside from that, you know, 50 degrees and the 40s, whatever. Now, what should people be thinking about? We've got to be kind of proactive about some of this stuff, right? I mean, I'm sure that you get calls in the middle of the night, but it's better to get a phone call and say, hey, look, guess what? I just checked my air conditioning unit and I don't think it's going to be ready for the season. What things should people be looking at this time of the year? Yeah,
so, I mean, first off, call us 24/7. We have no emergency fees. What we charge on a Monday midday is the same as what we'll charge on a Saturday or on the holidays as well. But really being proactive, oftentimes the equipment in your home, it goes on its terms or yours. And when it goes on its terms, it's often going to be the holiday, the weekend you have family in from out of town, something that's really inconvenient for you. So we always recommend getting one of our technicians or one of our plumbers out to your home to just do a whole home safety inspection. Make sure everything is running as it should be. And a lot of people don't realize, especially for your HVAC system, it's a lot like your car. Taking it in for annual maintenance, your tire rotation, your oil change, you should do the same with your boiler, your furnace, your AC unit. So give us a call. We can come out, do a super tune-up, and make sure everything's running right.
I was going to ask you about the super tune-up, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And some of these things, being proactive can save you money too, right?
It can, yeah. So for our members, we have discounts for proactive repairs. It's often not what we want to spend our money on, but the home is the largest asset for a lot of Western New Yorkers out there, and we recognize that. And so many people have so much pride in their home and where they live. It's important to us that we help them maintain it and take care of it. So, again, get the furnace checked up, get your boiler checked up, have your AC checked, hot water tank flush. It can save you a lot of money down the road.
All right, Brandon Biron, the president of Reimer Home Services. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Reimer by calling 716-899-HORN or go to callreimer.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment provided by the following. I'm Joe Chile. You can listen to me mornings on the Big Weck. Joining us today on the Big Weck's Buffalo on the Rise is Jonathan McDonald from BAM Acupuncture. Jonathan, good to see you again.
Yeah, how you doing, Joe?
I'm doing very well. One of the things that people asked me the last time that you were on, and I can kind of understand this, when you're talking about the Eastern culture and you're talking about acupuncture, they say, I don't know, it seems kind of like, I'm going out on a limb here. Is it hocus pocus? Is it whatever? And you were interesting when you told me, when we talked about this thing before, that everybody is skeptical at some point, right? Until you get a little more educated on it.
Yeah, I remember even telling you, I was there at one point, right? When I started my working life, I was working in physical therapy gyms. So I was kind of in the same place, every now and then you'd hear a patient that had an experience oh yeah, they stuck a needle here and this is better. It's like hippie stuff, But and it was really one particular patient where we were working on her and we weren't getting the results. And she decided to add that to her treatment plan, and the difference in her was amazing. And I think that's when, and it seemed magical to me, back then. But here I am 20 years later, I've been doing this for so long. It loses a lot of it's not magic, it makes sense and it's logical. But I think we were talking before, I told you every now and then you get a little bit of that in clinic. You
go, wow, wow, right?
Yeah, holy cow, that even surprises me. Recently I had this woman that I was treating. She had head pain for 20 years. She woke up with a headache one day, or not 20 years, 2 years. Woke up with a headache one day and had this headache for 2 years, just wouldn't go away. Had tried all these different things. I think it was her second or third treatment. You know, I'm putting the needles in, and I put a needle in, and she's like, I thought something was wrong, you know, but she said, no, like, it's gone. Like, I don't even remember what this felt like. You know, so like that's kind of like a magical moment. Like, I'm not expecting that kind of reaction. But no, you know, it makes sense, and it's consistent, the results you get. So I understand where people are coming from, because it's kind of from like the Far East, and it's a foreign type of medicine, but it works, and it is very logical to me.
You know, we talk about neuropathy and things like this, you know, back pain. What about something, you know, I hear people say, oh, I've got a migraine. I mean, it's something they don't get all the time, every once in a while. I got a migraine, I can't get out of bed. I've got to close the windows because the light coming in is so bad, it makes me ill. Can acupuncture work for something like migraines?
That's one of my areas of specialty. I treat a lot of head pain. I'm gonna be honest, the occasional migraine's kind of boring to me. I mean, you could treat that. At BAM, I consider us more of like the detectives of the medical world. You know, we like to take the cases that have other specialties maybe scratching their head a little bit. So that kind of excites me. So, you know, yes, I have treated tons of migraines over the course of my career. But today we really specialize in people that have these chronic conditions that, you know, they've gone through the merry-go-round of medical treatments, and they're starting to lose hope. That's really where I think the void that we can fill is we can take on those challenging conditions. The way we do that is we take this ancient medicine, you know, that is acupuncture that's been utilized in the East for thousands of years, and we're going to seamlessly blend in some more modern integrative techniques. And that really allows us to treat some of these and address some of these challenging problems that people are suffering from.
You know, one of the things that concerns me is, you know, we're in a, you know, like a pill technology, you know, the instant gratification. I want to take something, make me feel better. I mean, people would say, I don't want to go to the doctors, and I don't want to pay a doctor in the event he says, well, this, you know, you can't take a medicine for this. You know, you got to wait for it to go away on its own. But when you hear the disclaimers, and by disclaimers, I mean, you know, all the things that could happen to you when you take these pills or medicines, it really, it turns you off. I mean, you know, you say, I want to avoid this. Now, I think you've told me before, if there's something that's catastrophic, there's room for both, right? You know, but you don't have to go to the extreme just to begin with.
Right. I think you're exactly right. You know, I don't want to get up here and sound like I'm bashing Western medicine at all. You know, I think some of the things that we're able to accomplish with modern medicine, life-saving things, you know, like what we're doing with cancer and, you know, heart disease and all these like life-threatening conditions is amazing. But I do think, you know, when you're talking about medications and treating chronic conditions, that's where the toolkit is a little empty, you know. You know, we could do these amazing life-saving things with medicines, and often that comes at a cost, like you're talking about, you know, like the side effects. That is a huge thing when patients come into my office. You know, like I said, they've kind of feel like they're on a roller coaster, a merry-go-round of medical treatments. This doesn't work, and, you know, so they've tried this pill, and, you know, it doesn't really help, but man, it makes me feel lousy. You know, so then, okay, then it's off to this specialist. Well, you know, they can't help me, so let's go to this specialist. They're gonna give me a different medication. It's kind of the same thing.
You said something that was, and we've only got a minute left, but you said something that I think that was very important and struck me, is that some people will just say, you know, I just have to live with this. Your phrase was, we kind of give you your life back. We help you get your lives back. That made a lot of sense to me, and that was very important. What's the first step in our last 30 seconds or so here?
So starting is easier than saying acupuncture 5 times fast.
Good.
You know, I know you struggle with that sometimes.
Acupuncture.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Acupuncture, pickle pepper. You know. So, but all you have to do is call our office. Call us at 716-632-2207. You're going to talk to either a receptionist or a patient care coordinator. A patient care coordinator is going to set you up with a consultation. When you come in for that consultation, I'll have done a little homework and read your paperwork ahead of time. But I really want to sit down with you, put on my Sherlock Holmes hat, really figure out what's causing your problem, what your expectations are for treatment. If I determine you're a good candidate for acupuncture, at that point I'm going to spell out a real clear path for you. You know, like this is what it's going to take, this is what you can expect. 8 out of 10 times that is the situation when people come in for a consultation. There certainly are things, I mean, I'm not a superhero, you know, I am human. You know, some things are too progressed or just aren't in my repertoire, and I'm gonna let you know. You know, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. But most of the time, even if you've been through the gambit of different medical specialists, we can help you get your lives back on track.
That's great. Sherlock Holmes has great. Drop the pipe. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture by calling 716-632-2207 or go to BAMAcupuncture.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following. I'm Joe Chile. You can listen to me mornings on the Big Weck. Joining us on the Big Weck's Buffalo on the Rise is Jake Ganta. Jake is with the VA of Western New York Healthcare. Jake.
Joe,
Nice to see you today.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a recreation therapist. Now, I want to know, because this sounds like a job that I could probably do. No, I want to know, what does a recreation therapist do?
Yeah, in recreation therapy, we utilize leisure and recreation in a goal-oriented way. So we're hoping to improve the physical and mental health of our veterans. And whether those goals are to improve their physical health, to reduce the symptoms of PTSD, depression, anxiety, to provide new coping mechanisms to those in recovery, or to increase socialization and reduce isolation. Our programs are tailored to each individual or group of individuals, and we modify and adapt our programs to meet the needs of each veteran.
So it sounds to me like my idea of plopping on a couch and eating popcorn watching TV is not a good thing.
It's not the best for your
Yeah, I kind of got that. You know, are there things, you know, when you have a veteran come in, you talk to a veteran about recreation, are there certain things that you wouldn't want them to do because it might bring them back to a previous time?
Right, absolutely. There are things that we're trying to move forward, right? We're trying to introduce new leisure, healthy leisure lifestyle, new leisure activities. So we like to educate on the healthy things you can do instead of falling back to old coping mechanisms that didn't work for you. So we're trying to push you into new things, whether that be adaptive sports or creative arts or more social group oriented things to engage with peers, you know, develop camaraderie with veterans, and to hopefully get you out, increase your social interaction, and learn some new coping mechanisms, and implement to a healthy leisure lifestyle.
Do you deal with veterans of all ages? Because we look at, you've got, still have World War II veterans around, Korean War, you got
Right.
Vietnam, you got, all these different areas. And how do you mix them all together? It's not like one size fits all.
Correct, yeah. Well, we have a lot of different programs. Some are, for instance, I have a veteran bowling league program, which has vets in their 30s and 40s, and a lot of Vietnam era vets in their 70s. And so it depends on the program, but for the most part, veterans relate to one another. There's a lot of camaraderie involved, so you can, no matter the age, you can relate with another veteran. But some of our programs are geared toward older vets, whether that be in a community living center, inpatient setting, or that be in more of a social group atmosphere, like bingos and events like that with our volunteer groups.
I'm sure veterans have a lot of shared experiences, but is it something that do you want to have them avoid recalling some of those experiences? Even though they were shared, maybe it's something you're trying to get them to move away from. Is that difficult to do?
With our job, since we get to do recreation and leisure activity, not so much, but there are definitely triggers that you want to be mindful of. We're working with veterans who have mental health issues and things of that nature. So for the most part, I think we're able to kind of push forward into new territory, and we get to have fun, right? So this is all about adding new healthy interaction and goals for vets, new activities for them to kind of take hold of and engage in, hopefully for the rest of their life, and move forward on a path to wellness and recovery.
You know, it's great. One of the things that I do, because I'm going to be 70 my next birthday, but I still ride a bike 20 miles a day. But I ride, an e-assist. So,
Right.
if I'm going up hills or things like that, I don't do it as well as I did when I was, 40 or 50 or whatever, but it certainly helps. And there's a lot of things now that are built for people that may be a bit older and help them transition, right?
Right, absolutely. For instance, you could look into recumbent biking, which is kind of the
one you lay back.
laid back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, things like biking and sports are heavily modified, and there's adaptive equipment for things like that. So, for instance, I coach and manage the sled hockey program here at the VA, and that's an adaptive form of hockey for people who can't engage in stand-up hockey. I have multiple amputees in my program, spinal cord injury, back injuries, things like that. So we have an adaptive hockey program which uses seated hockey, bucket on blades, and smaller hockey sticks with picks on the end of them, so you can skate and shoot. So
That'd probably be good for me, because with hockey, I'm on the ground most of the time. I just
exactly,
unfortunately. How do you deal with veterans that have some social anxiety? Maybe they don't relate well with other people. Is that a problem?
It's definitely something that we deal with often. I think one of the key things is to include them, to offer programs. A lot of the times you have to continue to check back with them and encourage them to come out. We try to include them with other veterans who may have anxiety issues, social isolation, things like that. But again, our programs, especially the group programs, really kind of build this team atmosphere. Really, once you come out, I think you start to make friends. I think you start to realize that this is a team effort, kind of a group recovery, and again, a lot of the time you're just having fun. So whether that's bowling or our curling program, we've had over 80 vets try our curling program, and we have a consistent 30 or 40 that come each week that are really taken to it and kind of have developed a new interest and made new friends along the way. And
all right, Jake, well, thank you very much, Jake Gonta. For more information and answers to your questions, contact VA Western New York Healthcare System by calling 716-341-1617 or go to buffalo.va.gov. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.
Thanks for watching this edition of The Big Wack Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigwack.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to The Big Wack, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big Wack Presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.